Hey guys, it's Chris at the Ultimate Recycler. I'm down my back lane where I have been working on a total cleanup, which I'm running a playlist called The Great Backyard Cleanup. I've got to about part 9. It may look messy if you're just having a look for the first time, but it's a lot better than it was when I started. Anyway, I'm actually going to do a trip to the scrapyard this week. I haven't sold scrap for over 20 years. Not that I've been here all that time, and I haven't collected scrap all that time, but I used to be a fairly big time scrap dealer in a previous life, and with the prices pretty good at the moment, it's time to do a bit of a run down to Melbourne. And I thought, because this back lane is starting to get a little messy again, I should empty some of the steel out of here. A few of you guys commented on a recent video I did, and there's quite a lot of steel stacked up. All these containers, the computer towers, the dryer bodies, are all full of clean pressing steel. And we've had some rain recently and the weather's still quite mild, and I don't want this to become a big jungle down here, so I should reduce some of the clutter and keep it neat. And then when I get organised, I will do part 10 of the Great Backyard Cleanup, and we'll continue further down the lane here. So I'm debating what to put in the van. I'm taking my van, and it can probably carry a couple of tonne in weight, but I have to drive probably about 3 hours return trip, and I want to make the load pay. I want it to, not just be a couple of $100, but it's a good chance to get rid of some of this steel. I think it's paying, I will check in the morning, but I think they're paying about 25 cents a kilo for clean steel, and this is all clean. I make sure I only put the clean stuff in here. Any dirty shred goes out to our local transfer station. But I get all the plastic off things. It's just steel. And I've all these containers drained so they don't fill up with water. So it should be a nice paying load. I should get a fair bit of weight in there. I'm thinking, I don't know, I'll have to load the van and see how it looks, but maybe if we get about a tonne of this on there, or at least half a tonne, that will reduce some of this pile and give me a bit of a cash return. But also, to make the trip more viable, I'll throw in some other stuff. We'll go and have a look at that now. So I have a few batteries here. There's a few more down the back that are in danger of being overgrown. I don't want batteries to build up too big here, so we'll load them up as well. But again, they're going to be high weight for not a huge return. I have lots of crates here, all full of electric motors. And as I've packed them, I've weighed them, and there's about 30 kilograms per crate. And there's a double row there. So since the copper price is high, it means they're paying pretty good money for electric motors. But again, it's a lot of weight for not a lot of return. And I also have some ballasts out of fluoro lights. And there's some fridge compressors. In fact, there's a few more around the back under there, and they're paying pretty well at the moment as well, and also some transformers. So I think I'll get some of those in, but I want to be conscious of the weight that I'm putting on the van, and we do need to get a good return. So to increase the value of the trip, I'm going to add all my insulated copper wire. There is 1, 2, 3 large wheelie bins. This is 4, and I think there's another one over here that's full of wire, and it's paying really well at the moment. And I've got 80 kilograms in each of these bins, so that will really add to the payment of the trip. But also, if we come around here, my yard's a bit messy at the moment. I've had lots going on here lately. Over in that corner behind that green screen is some large copper hot water cylinders. There's one on top of that shed there, and there's a upturned one next to it. So they're nice and light, but really good value as far as copper prices being high. So they'll really add to the payment from the trip, and they can go up on top of the heavier stuff. So I'll start loading in the morning, and hopefully we'll do a trip on Tuesday, and I'll take you with me. So I'm loading up this morning. I've decided to add to the crates of transformers with a lot of these smaller ones that I've been putting in buckets, and I get 20 kilos in each. There's a couple I've already taken out, so I've got 160 kilos of these transformers. Now, I decided to sell the transformers ahead of the electric motors because I think with more and more of these transformers using aluminium windings, I think the scrapyards are going to start dropping the price of transformers. I did ring the guy today, just this morning, and he said transformers are a little bit lower than electric motors already. They used to all go in together from what I remember. So I think it's time to cash all your transformers in, unless you're going to save them and strip them out for the copper wire. I don't have time to do that, but I know a lot of people like to do it. And then of course they're disappointed when they find that the windings are actually aluminium, or as some of them call them, Chinesium, which I find quite amusing. Anyway, I'm going to take these as well. My weight in the van is getting up to around about a ton, a little bit over. I haven't added the copper cylinders yet. I think I'll throw them on top to make it a really nice paying load. I think I've got about $1,200 worth approximately in the van at the moment, and there's a lot of space in the back. We'll go and have a look now. So you can see there's lots of room in the back to put the containers of steel in to get rid of some of that. I've put all those transformers in there in buckets, and yes, I had to have all the labels facing the front. And how many of you are annoyed that one lid's green? Yeah, perhaps I'm a little OCD. There's the other wheelie bins full of wire. So I'm going to add the copper cylinders. I'll put some on top there and some in the front section, and then we'll just top it off with the steel to fill up the rest of the load. And I had a little bit more copper stashed away than I remembered. There's a couple of nice big cylinder and a big square tank there, and I've got a heap of wire in there as well. It's all rather corroded, so it'll go as number 2 copper, or burnt copper. Now there's 60 kilos there. So that's going to really boost our payment for this load. We should get, oh look, I'm not even going to really calculate it. As long as I was going to take a load worth at least $2,000, I was going to be happy, and it's going to be well over that, I think. And there's where a lot of the weight is in the copper. Lots of really thick, heavy wire. So wouldn't it be nice if it was all bright and shiny, but it's all very badly corroded. But it is clean, so we should get number 2 copper for that, and that will really boost the bottom line. Loading the back of the van now. I've just got a ramp here which I'm trolleying the dryer bodies up. They weigh between 70 and 90 kilos on average, the few I've weighed. I can get them up here with the trolley alright, so that's pretty good. They'll slide around on the floor nicely. So I'm keeping a track of the weight I'm putting in here, and I'm just loading the smaller computer towers and things all full of stuff, and I'm getting a rough weight as I go. And also just stacking some larger pieces up the front there. It's a great chance to get rid of just messy steel frames that have been hanging around the yard for a while. Stuff that won't fit in the dryer bodies. So I can load up the van now. I'll keep an eye on the weight, so I'm just keeping a rough tally as I go. I don't want to put any more than a ton of steel in here, but up around that figure would be nice. So I'll keep an eye on the weight, or obviously we'll run out of room, whichever comes first. I reckon I've got enough here now. It's not quite full, but I think I've got around about a ton of pressing steel, so that should ride alright. I got rid of quite a bit of stuff. It's very satisfying loading up to go to the scrapyard. You get a chance to throw everything on that's you've been tripping over, and I've cleared that first part of that section, so I can now move some other washing machine or dryer bodies down here that are sitting down the yard somewhere else. I've still got lots to go, so we'll save that for next load, but I'm happy with my load. I've got rid of a bit of tangly stuff out the back. I can get a bit more organised now, so we'll hit the road first thing in the morning. We'll see you then. Good morning guys, we're on the road. Hope you can hear me okay. The van's a bit noisy. We're not as early as we were planning to be. The dog slept in, what can I say? So yeah, we're taking it a bit easy. The van's fairly heavy, but we're going to just cruise down slowly, and we'll see you at the yard. So we're at the yard here. It's pretty noisy. There's trucks and forklifts going everywhere. Christine's unloading some transformers for me.
And I've got to do it one at a time.
Go girl. I'm throwing in the scrap steel into a big bin. I thought they might have taken me over the weighbridge, but they didn't. So I'm not sure how I'm going to get these dryer bodies on. I'll have to get the forklift to push the the tub a bit closer and I'll roll them in. So I'll keep going with the rest of this steel, and then we'll fill the small tubs with the other better value stuff. There's all our steel. We filled that tub, and Christine did, yeah, well, Christine helped. Let's just leave it at that.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave.
Okay guys, we're back from the scrapyard. In fact, it's a couple of days later. My muscles have recovered a bit. The van's probably breathing a sigh of relief. It did work hard that day. Let's have a look at the figures. Now, we've went to Manhari Recycling. I know e-waste Ben goes to them, and he often gives them a recommendation. They are very good prices, and I found them good to deal with. We did stand around in the yard for a little while. They seemed a little bit disorganised sometimes, but there was a lot going on, a lot of people there. All right, let's go through the figures. We had the pressing steel. I'll tell you a bit about the steel. They paid us 22 cents a kilo, or 220 a tonne. There was a levy, $9.60 waste levy, and they've called it mixed. They no longer offer a price for clean steel, and they explained to me that I don't need to be as fussy. There can be little bits of plastic and whatnot in it because they're only buying basically one grade of light pressing steel at the moment. There's no longer a clean and a dirty, and I guess it was a bit hard for them to police it, so that's all right. We had just over a tonne, 1,089 kilos, which was $219.98, and that's great because it cleaned up my yard. It was pretty well money for rubbish, and I know now not to be so fussy cleaning it, and that covered the fuel and our time, so that's good. The next item was our copper. We had 79 kilos of number 2 copper. $8.50 a kilo is very good. $671.50, which is an excellent return for not a lot of weight. And I have got more copper to go next trip. Our biggest payer was the PVC coated wire, basically the cords with no plugs, and we got $1,391.60. $3.55 a kilo is an excellent price for that, and I'll certainly be chasing cords whenever I see them. And who knows whether the price of copper is going to keep going up or drop down, but that's great at what it is now. The next one was our lead batteries. I knew I had about 200 kilos of them, 58 cents a kilo or 580 a tonne, so just over $100 there. Then we had our fridge and air conditioner compressors. Now 175 kilos, 90 cents a kilo, so that's $157.50. I don't know why people would even consider trying to cut them open when they're messy and you've got to use grinding discs just to salvage the copper. Unless you're going to use the copper for melting or casting or something, I don't think it's worth touching these things. Just take them to the scrapyard. That's a great price, and they do weigh very heavy. Electric motors, well, that was actually transformers. I'm not sure if they got that mixed up, because they did tell me that the price of transformers was a little lower than electric motors, but they gave me $1 a kilo. 392 kilos, $392. That's fantastic. So very happy with that. So that gives us a grand total of just under $3,000, $2,952.06. So how good's that? Very happy with that load. It was a lot of fun. I can't wait to do another load down there. I've got plenty more to go, and we'll be a little bit lighter on the weight next time. I think the van struggled a bit. Now, also going through traffic lights in Melbourne is very hard on the clutch, so We'll back off on the weight a little bit, but I've got brass to sell yet. I've got more copper, and of course I've got aluminium and cast alley and stainless steel and all sorts of stuff. So we'll be doing a few regular loads. I hope you enjoyed that trip down there. It's a good way to keep up with what current prices are as well with these videos. So thanks for watching. Give us some feedback on this. If you like to see trips to the scrapyard, let me know and I'll certainly film each one. All right, we'll catch you next time.